wear many hats.
Yes.
You do a lot. You are a wife, a mother, a homemaker, a business owner, a CIC director,
a lecturer,
host,
author,
speaker. Like the list
I know
goes
it
on.
goes,
Abigail.
it goes
You
on.
do so many things. How? Hello and welcome to Not Another Money Podcast. Why is it called Not Another Money Podcast, you may be wondering? It's because this is not your typical money show. Get ready for real money conversations and lessons, expert insights from some of our very special guests, and hear some really inspiring stories from everyday people. On this podcast, you're going to learn how to earn more, how to spend less, how to grow the difference, and most importantly, live your best financial life. Abigail, welcome to Not Enough Money Podcast. Thanks for coming on the show. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm doing really well, I can't complain.
Thanks for honouring the invitation to come on the show.
Anytime.
So good to have you. Before we dive into the main topic of today's conversation, what I want to do is start with a little bit of an icebreaker just to warm us up and lighten the mood. A game of Would You Rather. So it's the money edition. So I'm going to give you two options and you're going to tell me whether you would A or B. So I'll say, would you rather? And I'll give you the two options and then you pick which of the two. So would you rather get a 10% discount on every purchase for a year or get £500 in cash right now?
£500 in cash right now.
Yeah, I would go for that too because the 10% discount.
10%, what's 10%? Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, same. Okay, next one. Would you rather never have to pay for public transport again? So literally, basically like a freedom pass, but at a younger age, or get £2,500 cash? So £2,500 cash.
£2,500 cash. Yeah.
Why?
Because I can probably buy a car with it.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't think transport is that deep as much. No.
Yeah.
I'll take the cash.
Yeah, I think I'd go for that too.
Or I'd probably invest it in something, if not a car, if I have to match up because it's travel. But yeah, I'd use the 2,500 for something. Yeah,
I'm with you on that one. I think I would have gone for the same. Okay, the next one. Would you still on the transport theme? Would you rather have a fully paid off car or receive £20,000 to spend on anything that you want?
Fully paid off car. Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah, fully paid off car.
But I haven't told you what the car would be. It could be a car that costs like £500, fully paid off.
It's still going to get me to A to Z and I didn't buy it.
True.
Yeah, because I feel like a 20,000, nah. I'm not saying 20,000 won't be good, but at least that car can get me to A to Z for me to even make more money.
True.
So,
that's true.
Yeah.
And we're just going to pretend that the car is the car of your dreams.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Next one. Would you rather get a £10,000 salary increase or 100k, so £100,000 one-off payment tax-free?
Yeah, 100k one-off.
Yeah.
Tax-free,
You didn't even think about that one.
Yeah, I didn't have to think because when you're giving me the £10,000 extra on salary, you're gonna be taxing that one.
True.
So no, I want the 100k.
Give me the cash.
Yeah, give me the cash. That is it.
Would you rather have a £100,000 salary? Yeah, so 100k is your annual salary with no holidays, so you don't get no annual leave, or £50,000 salary and you have unlimited annual leave?
50,000. Yeah.
Unlimited annual leave. 100k, no annual leave. So you work your normal Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, all year.
The 50k.
Yeah.
Yeah, with unlimited leave. Yeah, that one, 100%.
Yeah.
I need to go on holidays. I can't have no.
I was thinking you were taking a while to answer that.
Because I had to really proper think about it. Because someone on the other men might be like, well, I'll take the 100k and then not go to work again. But no, I'll do the 50k unlimited. Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
I need my holidays. I need
100%. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks for playing.
No problem.
So then the next thing we've got before we dive into the heart of today's conversation is, again, another segment I like to do on the show is called Not Another Money Moment, where you basically share a memorable money moment from your history or from your past. So it could be a childhood memory or one in adulthood, but a significant money moment that you don't mind sharing with the audience.
So a money moment that I can always remember, it's the child benefit thing.
Yeah,
My mum, so my mum saved our child benefit. She never spent it. It went into a separate savings for me and my sister. And so that's what I do with my own children. Incredible. Yeah, it's not something like, it's not something that we use it with our daily budgets. No, because in case that money ever was to go, then it's something that you rely on. But for even let me backpedal a bit. For me, the memorable thing which I've been able to do is that I'm coming from Ghanaian descent. I'm not sure if all Ghanaians do it across the board, but when we do our outdooring and our naming, and you get a lot of money and so forth, that's when the bank account starts for the child. So you start putting everything in the bank accounts, and then the child benefit and all of that stuff. So yeah, those stuff were saved. I never saw my mum had to. My mum would rather grind 3 jobs than to take the money out of her kids.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's incredible. Because we had this conversation before we started recording that, and I was like, what? Your mum did what? Your mum saved your child benefit?
Yeah. And it's so funny because you asked, when did my mum come? My mum came in the 70s. Yeah. So even that time, like there's ways and means to make money than dipping into your kids' thing. I know sometimes obviously it can get hard and you might, but have that conscience that you're gonna put it back, and if anything, be strategic. Like if you're gonna build a house in Ghana, those days when the aunties and uncles were building houses in Ghana, or buying a house here, then make sure that a portion of that money, your kid's name and stuff, is on there, so that at the end of the day you're already building that type of wealth. Yeah.
No, I love that. That's very intentional.
Yeah.
And I think the issue when it comes to child benefit is the way your parents perceived it was very different to the way a lot of parents perceive it.
Yeah.
In that it's the child's money.
Yes.
Whereas I think, to be fair, how it's positioned as well, proposition to parents is that it's for the children, for you to spend on the children. Whereas I like the way your parents view it. Yeah. It's the money for the child as opposed to money to spend on the child now, but actually for the child's future. That's it.
And worst case scenario, God forbid, if you especially when they get into secondary school and you might need to use that money for their blazer and all of that stuff, just be intentional and make sure you put it back.
Wow, I love that discipline. Yeah. So not only, because I thought you were gonna say that you can use it for some things for the children.
No. Just in case there might be a hard time. But always just make sure, and
I love that. Make sure you put it back.
Yeah, make sure.
So your parents didn't do what our parents did in terms of, like, for example, birthdays when aunties give you money and then they look after it, inverted commas.
No, it went straight into our accounts. I never saw it. I never saw my mum. No.
Oh wow! You had a different upbringing.
Yeah, no, my mum was a hustler. Wow. She'd rather do like a cleaning job in the evening as well as her main job. So that's why we went on holiday every year.
You went on holidays too as a child? No, seriously.
Mum was a single mum, 2 girls. Yeah. So it's something I always explain to my husband. We have to do double what my mum did, 100%. Yes. Because she Wow. She built the path.
You went on holidays as well.
Yeah.
On an airplane.
Straight to what? Airplane. That was our thing. I went on the first airplane when I was 3. No. That's why I'm always going on holiday, because it's normal to me. Yeah. It's not. If I'm here for a year in this country, I just start itching myself. It's too. Yeah, I can't.
I was gonna ask that actually, if you don't mind sharing. You said the lump sum that your parents give you. Are you able to give like the round figure of what it ended up being, the child benefit money, just to kind of give context to people watching, like the potential earnings that you have with that child benefit if you save it versus spending it?
I can say it's definitely a double figure in grand. Wow. Yeah. It's not a single figure; it's a double. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that? Like, at what age was that? 18 or 21?
My mom gave it to us a bit later on.
Yeah, when you're responsible enough to do something.
Yeah, because there was a time that we were asking for something, and it was quite big, and so she did ask us, "Is it okay? Because it's for you that you're past the age." And then when we were like past 25, that's when she gave it to us. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Shout out, Mumsy. Okay. Yeah, no, thanks for sharing that, and you've definitely given us food for thought in terms of saving that child benefit.
Yeah.
Now we can dive into the main heart of the conversation, and I guess before we dive more into your story, it'll be good for you to kind of tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, who is Abigail, or more popularly known as
Ohima
Speaks.
Who am I? I'm a 35-year-old.
35-year young.
Yeah, I like that. Born and bred in South London.
Rap, rap.
I wear I wear a lot of hats. And I feel like if I describe every single hat, I am gonna miss out one. So, multi-talented, I would say. I'm also a mother to 2 young girls, and I'm also a wife, and I'm a sister. Yeah.
No, I love that. You shared a lot about a little bit of an overview about who you are and what you do, and we're going to definitely touch on a lot of that as we go through this conversation. So all the different hats you wear, we're going to discuss a few of them. But I guess going back to the beginning of your story, because Ohima Speaks, where did that come from? That's where we want to start.
So Ohima Speaks started in the fall, late 2016, December. That year I got married in May. I got married in May 2016, as in the white wedding, but I'd done the traditional year before. And it started because I had my first miscarriage in October 2016, and I just wanted to do something. I just wanted to, and like through praying and spending time, praying and so forth, Ohima Speaks was born. Ohima is my name, but I just didn't know what to start it with, and Ohima Speaks, and I started a YouTube channel, and it's just blossomed into some things I didn't see the overview of how it would blossom. I just wanted to do something that I know I was good at, and that was talking, speaking with people, having interviews, and getting the answers from people that other people would struggle to get. So
I'm just interested to know what, like, from having a miscarriage, which is really sorry to hear that you went through that, but from that to you launching a YouTube channel, what was what made you think that was the outlet or the channel that you wanted to use to express yourself? What was the link?
I mean, I felt like I was alone at the time. Obviously, I had my husband, but no one at that time was speaking about miscarriages. 2016, that time, no, it was unheard of. When I say unheard of, it was hidden, and so I just wanted to, do something that would bring me some light, because I am not my pregnancy. Because if I want marriage and pregnancy to define who I am, then who am I? And so I needed to find Abigail again. Who is Abigail? Because people go by titles and think when you're married or you've got kids, you've accomplished something. But I wanted to have something for me. So that was what I was praying about, that I would find me and that I wouldn't be lost and drowning in my sorrow.
And would you say you was able to find you through starting a YouTube
Yeah, because it was
because
I was able to have. I didn't want interviews with the people who had big names. I wanted people that were coming up. I wanted to hear their story and what was inspiring that can inspire other people. And so some of the interviews that I've had with some people on that channel, they've really excelled into big things.
No, that's amazing. It's like, literally turning pain into purpose.
Yeah.
So it's like you've been through something, and because of that, you want to share your story and your experience with other people to encourage them on their journey, but then also put the spotlight on other people. That's a very selfless way of thinking. Have you always been like that, would you say?
Yeah, I'm the eldest, so I've always had to put like my siblings in front of me and like cousins and so forth and whatnot, and I always say that I'd rather sacrifice them for any of my siblings or my cousins to now call me like stupid or why you're Jimmy, like you're not someone. Like, so I always made those sacrifices and the choices that I made so that them two, they can have their own path. So if they choose a path that's off key, that ain't nothing to do with me, because they can't come and say that
it was your direction,
that's
your
it,
example.
100%. Yeah.
What is that like, being the firstborn, like the eldest child, the weight and responsibility that comes with?
It's pressure. It's pressure that I'm so conscious of. Now I've got my own kids. I don't give my eldest that pressure.
Oh, really?
I give her the pressure because of her, not because she's the eldest, because I know you can excel for yourself, not because there's a young one behind you, because you're different. And hearing, because growing up, because I was the eldest, a lot of like people in the society, like the Ghana society growing up, like Stockwell and so forth, whatever school I went to, all the kids went to. So we all went to I went to that primary school, all the kids went to that primary school. Abigail went to that secondary school, they're all going to that secondary school kind of thing. So it was like, sometimes you hear like parents, why can't you be like so-and-so? And, it's not good, so the pressure is real. But the thing maybe I would always say was the explanation of why there is pressure. And I think if certain things were explained properly, that might ease the pressure for us to understand why that pressure was there. So yeah, it's a lot of pressure, is a lot of but at the end of the day, it's fulfilling, if that makes sense. And I always believe, like, you can't be the firstborn and you're not, like, you're a natural born leader. So if you're like the third born and you're leading before the first, there's some disconnect. Like there's something that's happened. Yeah.
So then how were you able to do things differently with your children so that your daughter doesn't feel that same kind of pressure that you felt, but the same pressure that has helped you to excel in the way you've excelled in life?
So what I will do is that, sometimes I do snap. Like, I'm always like, stop that, because I want you to hear me. Do you know what I mean? I'm not gonna lie. Out of me and my husband, I'm the stricter parent.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the stricter parent. Because my husband's always like, you won't do that with your mom. Why are you doing it with me?
Yeah.
But then,
wow, that's so funny. That's me and my husband all the way around.
So I would now sit her down and I explain to her, why do you think mommy snapped at you? Why do you? Because I won't hit you. I might pinch you in your thighs, because there's a lot of the meat. I'll pinch you there, but I will explain to you, and then I'll let you know you're not supposed to do that, and I'll also affirm you and tell you you're incredible. I am strong. Every day she's saying I am strong, but she knows, because now whenever I say to her, don't do this, Anaya, don't do that. Okay, mommy, I won't do this because I won't get that. She knows. Yeah, she knows. And even the younger one, she's younger, but she's starting to follow suit. The eyes work for her.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she's young still, innit? Yeah. The eyes work for her, because she
kids.
likes to jump in the pushchair.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, sit down, and she can see where I'm upset. She gets it. Not the first one, but she gets it. She just looks at me like, okay, mommy's not happy. And even though she's 15 months, but she can tell.
Oh, wow.
That one, you could tell that she doesn't want to ever be in trouble.
Yeah.
Because if she is, she will cry so, like, her heartfelt cry. Yeah, she cries from the heart.
Going back a little bit to obviously that time when you had the miscarriage, what was that like for you? Because it was quite early on in marriage, right? You said within the first year.
Yeah, within the first year.
Yeah. So what was that like, if you don't mind sharing, in terms of how you and your husband navigated?
Do you know what? I'm very blessed in that, because I remember growing up watching Jeremy Kyle. And I remember, and I used to see like a lot of the communications, some women had lost kids, and like that tore them apart. So in my head, I used to always think, oh my gosh, is that what happens? But my miscarriage wasn't like a normal miscarriage. I don't know what normal miscarriages actually look like, but everything happened so fast. My waters broke. I was in my second term, so it wasn't, so I like through it all, like I'd lost consciousness. I actually thought I was a goner. It was really, really, really bad. But my husband just always covered me in prayer. And he, in that season, he always put me first. But it was all, he never like shut down any conversations that we had at all. And he gave me that space and he gave me that time. Yeah, he gave me that space and he gave me that time. Because I do remember when it happened, I think the week after I didn't go to church, because I go every Sunday, and I just wanted to be silent. And so I just watched a sermon, any sermon that I found on YouTube. And I just literally, that was the first time I actually like literally cried. And then I just like, sat with God, spoke with God, cried about it. And then I just took every day. I said, as it came. Because, as I said, nobody understood. So I just used to speak to God a lot, because at the end of the day, who else am I going to speak to if, they don't, oh, it will come. Yeah, that's not really what I want to hear. I don't even know what I want to hear, but that's not what I want to hear. After that, another one came. And so, it became, a lot.
Oh, so it happened the second time?
Yes.
After? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it happened the second. So that was the first one, and then the second one happened 2 years after that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
And this was before you'd had the first one.
Yes.
Well, I don't even know if this is a silly question to ask, but I guess your faith was a big part of how you were able to keep going.
Yeah, because I believe that when during the first one, after I had launched Ohima Speaks, going into the year like 2017, obviously I was waiting to become a mum. I was in the waiting stages. And so I wasn't in the waiting stages when I was waiting to get married. I didn't wait. That came straight away. So this was the first time I was in my waiting season. Because there's some people, they wait to be married, and as soon as they get married, but mine was reversed. I didn't have to wait to be married. It was there on my doorstep. Then waiting, do you know what I mean? But waiting to become a mum, that was my waiting time. And so one time I just said to God, what do you want me to do whilst I'm waiting? And that's when Ladies in Waiting came. Yes. So it was like I kept myself busy in a way, but according to what God wanted me to do. Because if you're not careful, you become too busy with nothing and you don't produce nothing because you want to keep busy and you don't want to face your feelings. Yes. So for me, I'm only going to be leaning on God, because at the end of the day, I know He gave me marriage. How He gave it to me, I know He will also multiply me. But it just probably wasn't my time. And maybe people outside didn't understand that, but it's me. So I asked God, what do you want me to do whilst waiting? And then through Ohima Speaks, then Ladies in Waiting, and through as we were going on, the following year, the 2018, that's when I had a miscarriage. And even me having that miscarriage now, did it throw me off? I don't think it threw me off as much as the first one.
Why is that?
Because I believe that when the second one happened, I was not that I was at peace or anything, because that was also, horrific. But at the same time, I knew I was leaning on something because I had things to do. And so after the second one, I just said, God, you know what? I'm still waiting, but I know at the appointed time, you will make things right. And so that, funny enough, that year, the year after that, that is when I even invited some people to do some speaking events at Ladies in Waiting. And one of the ladies who was speaking, her story was exactly like mine. I had never met anybody who had gone through the exact same thing as mine. How I even saw her was I was scrolling on Instagram in my living room, and she came up on the Explore. Wow. And I read her story. And when I read her story and so forth, that year I was doing faith on Ladies in Waiting, how to build your faith. Wow. And she was a perfect speaker. So I called her, sent her a message, called her, spoke to her. And, she came with her mum and her child. Shout out Katie Bonful. Yeah. That was her.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow, no way.
And so she came to speak. And I think that was her first speaking event, you know. Yeah, she came with her friend, Maximus, at the time.
Oh, Maxie,
He was small. He was really small. And she came with her mum.
Oh, beautiful.
And so through there, when speaking with her, I knew that was divine, that God had connected me with somebody who went through. So it was just, to show me I wasn't the only one. So if He could do it for her,
isn't it the same God?
Why wouldn't He do it for me? So I knew that was step one. Because I used to think, I'm a bit alone in this thing. Why is it how I had these miscarriages? Why is my waters breaking? And so forth. I've only heard about silent miscarriages, having a blood transfusion and all of that stuff. So when I got connected to her, it was just a matter of time, and by the grace, because I believe that event happened 2018, I believe. No, 2019, I believe, that time. Yes, 2019. That event happened. And literally, that event would be October 2019. Going into 2020 March, I found out I was pregnant.
No.
Yeah. Timelines is not long.
Come on.
So literally, let's say 6 months.
God.
Yeah. And even through me finding out I was pregnant with Anaya, the stages. So I've had ladies in waiting, the faith seminar.
Yeah.
That then the following month I lose my job.
Wow.
Yeah, because of some craziness at work that they had to, it was some mix up literally with other people involved. But if they didn't get rid of me and whatnot, that December, me and Kofi were going back to Ghana, for the first time as a couple. Yeah, and then I come back, and then I come back into January, and I was like, God, you need to do something with ladies in waiting now. Because even though we didn't hear about all the pandemic and coronavirus at that time, I was like, God, I need to move with ladies in waiting. I need a radical move. And so again, the Holy Spirit showed me Instagram, showed me this young guy in Ghana. He had did some media kit for some girl here. And I messaged him and I said, I have this women's organization and so forth. Can you help me bring it in Ghana? He was like, yeah. He organized everything, and literally, this is someone I'm not working on. I'm now doing what do you call it? Ad hoc work. Yeah, because I'm a teacher. And by March, I was in Ghana, and Ladies in Waiting went international. I was on Ghana television. I went to schools. I even went to speak with Ghana football team, women football team. I donated stuff. We had conversations. Literally, I met some YouTubers. I didn't force anything. God ordained my steps. And literally, my uncle had died the year before. My mum's brother, who I was very close to. He was like a dad to me. And we were all meeting in Ghana, the whole family, that March. So I went a week before them. And so we all linked up afterwards. And literally, that day, we were flying back. We were the last people to leave Ghana because the country was going on lockdown. And so we had already got our seats. One of my uncles didn't make his plane, but the other one did, because he was shook. If he was like, I'm not staying in Ghana, I need to go back to Texas. And so literally, I remember this so well, because at the airport, when I'm leaving the country, I never eat. I'm already full. I just want to be on the plane and make sure everything's okay. But then I was so hungry. I was like, Mom, give me your last Ghana CDs. I need to buy something to eat. We landed in the UK the next day. And then that's when I got home. We now found out, we're going to be on lockdown that week. That day I landed, a few hours later, I found out I was pregnant. And when I checked with the doctors, I was 9 weeks gone. God has a sense of humor, because he knows he wouldn't have let me know I was in Ghana, because I'll be panicking.
That's mad. That is mental.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. He literally orders your steps.
Literally. The word is there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Living testimony of that.
Literally living testimony.
And what stood out as well, many things from what you just shared. But one thing that I noticed, and it's a pattern actually since we've been speaking, is you stepping out in obedience. Because it's one thing God speaking to you, or you feeling the urge to do something, but not doing it because of fear or negative self-talk. But you, each time you have that hunch to do something, you just go with it. Where do you think that comes from? So you just, for example, the example you gave of you reaching out to Katie, and then her coming on Ladies in Waiting, and then her being able to show you her testimony to inspire you for yours, and then you now reaching out to that guy on Instagram, and then Ladies in Waiting being able to go international. That was from you stepping out in obedience and doing that. So yeah, where does that come from?
Do you know what's the worst that anyone can say? No. If they say no, it might knock you a little bit, but it's not gonna throw you off chart. And that's how I see it. And something just came to me that wasn't even in my head, but it's like, why am I going to church for? Am I just sitting there just to tick a box? I'm going there to serve and have my faith to be re-inspired for the next week. So me going to church every week and me serving, that's what builds my inner man. I can even tell you that there was times when I was pregnant in the pregnancies that I lost, and I would leave my house to go to my church branch, which was my other church branch, which was quite far. And me and my husband will be standing outside the church branch because we'll be doing like home sales. And we were told to do like a home sale in East London, and we're from South. And we'd go there and we'd pray on the grounds. I'd be coming from work with my pregnant self. We'll be praying there. It was snowing, raining. There was even one church member. All she had to do was open her door for us to be in the cell praying. She wouldn't even open the door. We call her, she wouldn't even answer the phone. We'll be praying there on the grounds for an hour in the rain, in the snow. And when no one attended, we now just go home. So all of that can't be in vain. No. When I'm praying, I even use that to stand. I'm like, God, do you remember when I...
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. Boldness.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the boldness.
Yes, the boldness.
And like you said, it's believing what you read. So I'm a Christian too. I'm a believer too. And it's inspiring hearing the way you speak, because that boldness is something I still pray for now, and it's something that I'm constantly having to overcome. Yeah. Because while I might feel prompted to send that DM, I have like 100 thoughts in my head stopping me. So it's like, oh no, what if they don't reply, or what if they say no? And like you said, what is the worst that can actually
what's the
happen?
worst?
And it's only now in my big age, nearly 40, that I'm actually starting to realize that it's not that deep. They say no, so what? They're not going to kill you. Yeah. Whereas I think many opportunities probably I've missed out on in previous years or past years by not having that boldness and stepping out because of fear of rejection and all the rest of it. So no, I really commend you on having that boldness. And it's so important to have that boldness as a believer, particularly.
Yeah, no, definitely. You have to be bold. You have to believe in the word that you're reading. Just as you believe that storybook with Little Mermaid and all of them things there that we used to remember, the Lady and the Tramp and stuff, believe in God's word, because I had my fun. And when I gave my life to Christ, I weren't playing, because at the same time when I was walking to that altar call, I was like, what do I else have to lose? I've lost everything. That 2014, I lost everything. So what else do I have to lose? Let me try something new. And by God's grace, it's worked for me. So, and it will work for anyone once you believe in the promises that God has for you.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
We kind of gone off on the spiritual tangent, but it's really good. And it's so inspiring to hear your story. So I don't know if you mind sharing or not. We can cut this bit out if you don't want to share it. But you said 2014 was a monumental time for you that made you give your life to Christ. Do you mind sharing?
Oh, I don't mind. It's even on my channel. No. Okay. So that year I had a business. I had a wine bar.
Oh, you really have done a lot.
Yeah, and it didn't. Yeah, towards me and the person, we just clashed a lot. Then I was in this relationship that nearly would take your mind. It was just a lot of narcissist behavior. It didn't have a word then. Yes. It has a word now. You have the word for it, but that time, no. And that kind of rocked my self-esteem. I lost a lot of money as well. And it's so funny you say this, because yesterday when I was doing my accounting stuff, because I account all my stuff, not accounting, but my own personal money, 10 years ago, that money that I had like small, I had lent it out, and by God's grace, today as we speak, God has quadrupled it.
Look at that.
So I had lent out. That's why even like when my sister said the other day she lent someone money, I said, why don't you want it? And she's like, yes, I don't lend them because I want it. So if I don't want it, then I'll lend. That's what my husband taught me. But that happened. So many things. Obviously, when I lost that business, that relationship was, overpowering. And then, if I tell you, that year, I repeated a year of uni, and the worst thing ever happened. Funny enough, I even forgot it because it's also that year. I submitted my dissertation, and I had to redo some parts. Imagine this, and it sounds like EastEnders what I'm about to tell you, but this is real life. I've submitted my dissertation. Yeah. I've submitted to the clerk. Me and him have a good relationship. He has a good relationship with everybody. On Monday, we hear that he's died in his sleep. Could anyone see my dissertation? They will now come to file me to say that I had not submitted anything because everybody was in their emotions to check his email. What I went through to prove... What I went through to prove that I'd done my dissertation. Like, what's the odds of you send your dissertation to the clerk for him to even die the next day?
No. So it's not even it's not funny. It's
like...
insane.
Honestly.
But they were able to get that back.
Months to a year. Yeah, we were going through this battle.
Really?
That I had to even take a mark down because of it. But my main thing was like, you know what? I'm graduating. It might not be the mark that I want, but I was graduating because of that whole situation. So I didn't come out with the mark that I wanted, but by God's grace, I've been able to further my career. So yeah, that was a twist in the spanner. And even funny enough, me meeting my husband as well, he came with me to the meeting to advocate. I was like, yeah. Whereas I never dated people who were of substance. I'm not gonna lie. And so no, they weren't, and they weren't my level. But at the same time, we have this notion of, oh, you know, let's give people a chance. Yeah, none of that. Because I was even telling my sisters today, don't pick up an uneducated person. No, I was being very serious. Don't do that to yourself. Pick your level or higher. Don't go and pick below your level, because you will suffer for it.
Level, no?
Like I was saying to a friend today, a man doesn't have to have plenty of money. All he has to have is willingness. If he's willing to be educated, like maybe his background, there was no education there, and he's willing to learn. So coming here and willing to learn education, if that's the path he wants, or he's willing to find a job and work 3-4 jobs. London is hustle city. If you're not ready to hustle, then London's not for you.
Facts.
Yeah. So if a man doesn't have to have like 10K in his bank account and all of that, what a lot of girls say, the willingness will take you to that money. The willingness will take you to what your purpose is. Absolutely. But if a man doesn't have willingness, forget it.
It's true. Work ethic.
Yeah.
Describing it, Work ethic, ambition, drive.
Ambition, yeah. That's all part of willingness. Because he could just have money in his account sitting there and he's doing nothing.
True.
He wants to play video games or he wants to sponge off you. You know, it's willingness. So always pick someone, And I'm not going to lie, that's why in the past, I didn't see that. So it's as I got married and God started showing me. Because I wrote down what I wanted in a husband. And I put in the prayer box, prayed with anointed oil and prayed, put my seed in. I left it. So pray about what you want. Even if you think it's silly, it's not silly to you. Because it's you that you have to wake up and deal with it every day. So, yeah, I didn't. Because growing up where I grew up, we didn't date people with substance. We just dated to say that we've got a boyfriend. What is that?
And would you say that it was salvation that made you pick differently when it came to your spouse?
100%. 100%. After having that narcissistic relationship, I mean, I was like, if it's not going to be God ordained, I don't want it. Yeah, so when I gave my life to Christ, I jumped fully in. I was like, no sex till I get married. Even though I wasn't a virgin, but I was like, no, if I'm going to do this thing properly, I'm going to,
So what I wanted to circle back to actually, because you've mentioned it a few times in this episode, but for the purpose of those that are not familiar with the platform, I want to talk a bit more about ladies in waiting and just tell us a little bit more about that business and what you do there.
So ladies in waiting is like my baby. The baby, I'm not saying the baby that I didn't have, but that was what I birthed in that season. That God gave me that to birth. And so I was using my money. I was just doing events. We used to do like networking events. We used to do events where women would talk about their faith. We used to do events where, women would talk about self-esteem. Self-esteem was our main thing. And I say our because it's our now. When that time it was just me. So it was about building confidence and so forth. But then pandemic hit. Just as we went international, we were on TV, people recognized us. We went on a high, we came back, and it was like, and I was like, no, I won't allow that momentum to drop. What are we going to do? So being on the internet, Instagram again, God connected me to someone else. Her name's Justice Williams. Justice Williams, MBE. And she held my hand. literally. And I'll always be thankful for her. And she helped me register as a CIC.
Amazing.
And so I registered as a CIC. I did some due diligence, but I just decided to be bold and go with it. If it's not going to work, it's not going to work. Like, I weren't going to, because some people ask you, why didn't you do a CIO? I'm going to do the CIC. And so I did that in 2021. And so from me doing that, we got awarded our first national lottery, and I did some programs online with girls, helping them with their self-esteem. And so when I say we, I needed a team because it couldn't be me anymore. I just became a mum. And so I got directors. Shout out to the ladies in waiting directors, Edith, Brianna, Amma, and Lysandra. Shout them out. And they live in various countries. Edith lives in Holland, Brianna lives in New Jersey, and Amma and Lysandra live in London. And so we come together and we now speak about what we're going to do forward. So mentoring's our key ethos now. So we do mentoring, we do workshops as well. Whereas I've got my teaching lecturer background, I design all the stuff myself. And then like what I love about it is that I have the backup of them. If I'm like, oh guys, I don't really see, and they're like, okay, let's rechannel, and we have our meetings. Oh, shout out Tina. Lord, how can I forget Tina? You missed the member. I knew I was gonna do that. Tina, you love me anyway. And so I have that team that we all come together, and then from then we've been from that we've now also launched in Holland. So by God's grace, we're 7 years this year. So we're going to Holland to have a get together and celebrate health is wealth. That's the main thing. And celebrate others. And so, ladies in waiting, becoming a CIC was a massive thing because no one around me had a CIC. Exactly. And so again, I was being bold into something I didn't know. So now I'm always getting phone calls. How did you do the CIC? Can you help me? And I'm fine because obviously there's people out there that charge people to get a CIC, but they don't have CICs. So when people come back to me and be like, oh, I want to do a CIC, so-and-so was helping me. Do they have a CIC? They're like, no. So why are you going to them for advice? What have they done? They're telling you how to get a loan and money, but they don't actually know the ethos, the things that actually go in to having a CIC, the applications, the work you've got to do, the long hours, the heart, compassion. They don't have any of that. They're just telling you about getting money so they can make money off you. Yeah. But you can do things yourself, and by God's grace, we're still going. So,
amazing.
7 years.
Impacted so many lives of women, not just in the UK, but
not internationally as well.
And I think what's so inspiring about your story is the fact that it was birthed from a place of pain. So you rechanneled that and took something so negative and so difficult, and you used it to help other women on their journeys, and you've literally found light in such a dark situation and been able to inspire so many people on their journey, which I think is absolutely incredible.
Thank you.
Very inspiring. Like literally, it's like so amazing. And what I wanted to ask about in terms of the CICs is for the benefit of people that are not too familiar with it, because I know before speaking to you about it, I didn't actually know it was a thing or what it was or how it works. So just give us a little bit of an understanding as to, because you said it's Ladies in Waiting is a CIC, what that is and how that differs from maybe setting up a normal limited company.
So the difference between a CIC and limited company, because I have limited companies, and so the limited companies that I have is whatever I make is for me. But with a CIC, whatever money comes in, you have to use it for that, that actual organization. So whatever is in, you have to put in. Whatever you get, you have to put in. So it's no profit. No profit. Yeah, no profit.
But it differs to a charity. Right?
Yeah, it differs to a charity.
So how does that?
So for me, charity status is long. Okay. In my own opinion, it depends how you want to run a charity. For me, charity wouldn't have worked for the things that I do, only because there's too many T's and crosses when it comes to charity. It's very, very, very complicated. And so with a CIC, the great thing about that is that as much as it's a company, but it's non-profit as well, you're also able to make a living through it too. Do you know what I mean? And so with that as well, getting contracts, and also getting funding as well, you're also able to do it full time if you play it correctly. Do I do it full time? No, I don't. I haven't got to the level that I want to do it to get it to full time. And I believe personally, this is my own opinion, there's a lot of maybe CICs that are starting up and they're like, oh, I'm giving work, I'm doing CIC. That's mad.
Oh, really?
No.
You would advise that?
No, you need to work
when
you're having a CIC. It's important, or have a business, because it's not all the time that you're going to get funding. So what happens to your CIC? Is it just going to be laying dormant? You need it to start thriving. So even if you I'm a believer in sowing. It's not everybody that believes in sowing. And I've been reaping and I'll still continue to reap. So if I'm having an event for ladies in waiting, and I didn't get a certain funding, I will put my own money in. Like every year we do a family fun day. That's fully funded by myself. Wow. And by other members that come in and be like, let me cook food, let's do this. So once we give back, it will always come back another way.
It's because of the heart behind
yes.
it. You're not doing it for the money.
That's
you're doing
it.
it for the impact. And the money will come as
exactly. A lot of people always like, yeah, but I need the money to fund this. Not really. If you have those conversations with people in the community, oh, is it possible if I can use your recording studio maybe 1 hour or 2 hours a week to help jump something? You're not having those conversations. You need to be smart. Go and knock. If you're going to get rejected, you're going to get rejected. Doesn't mean everyone's going to say no. Yes. Just reach out to people and see what they can do. And it can work.
Amazing.
Yeah.
No, that's amazing. And thanks for sharing and thanks for explaining it for the benefit of those that are interested in starting CIC but don't know where to begin. In fact, that's a good question actually, in terms of if somebody's watching now and they do want to start a CIC, what would you advise them as first steps or how to go about getting there started? So
the first thing I would say is that make sure you've got 3 directors. Don't get 2. That was one funding that gave me that advice, so I'm passing that advice. Get 3 directors, because I've had a situation where I had one director and she decided to step off, and that was leaving me in the lurch. Okay. That was painful. Yeah. You get me? And so with that, I remember going to my spiritual mother, shout out Ma Cynthia, and I was like, what do I do? And she was like, yeah. She just gave me some steps. And then I got 2 other directors that are involved, but they also have their own thing. So there's no pressure on them, because I like that pressure on me. Yeah. And so with that being said, we started rolling out. So because in case if one does decide to jump off, which by the grace of they won't, but she's still got another one on there. So make sure you got 2 directors that are not related to you, because a lot of people like to try and cut corners. Don't keep in the family. There's ways you can keep in the family, but that one you got to private message me for that. Okay. Take that one offline. And also, what I would also say is make sure that you have a plan, your mission, and make sure you already know what your first 10,000 is going to look like. Event. Don't wait to apply and think, oh, what idea should I have now? Have that ready. Okay. Have 3 solid ideas ready, and you're ready. You can be ready to jump off. And then in terms of who to go to and how to start that conversation, is it go on a direct gov website, would you say, to get started setting it up? If I don't mention this, I'm gonna get cussed behind the scenes. If anyone wants to start, they can just come and message me and we can find out a plan, because I have helped people, but people are just on my back saying, why am I not starting something to help people on their way? And so if you do want to start, there is certain packages that I have for people that are starting. And then, so they can just contact me. Oh, what I'm gathering from this conversation is that you wear many hats. Yes. Like, you do a lot. You are a wife, a mother, a homemaker, a business owner, a CIC director, a lecturer, host, author, speaker. Like the list goes on. Abigail. It goes on. So many things. How? All by God's grace. Yeah. All by God's grace. And everyone's like, "How do you sleep?" Oh, I sleep. Oh, do you? When I want to. Oh. When I want to, but I do. I do. You're able to. You're able to. Once you've got that grace. Yeah. So, okay, now that's good, but I need more in terms of
like
how
the
do I handle
practicalities of how you actually are able
so
to
do
wear
it
so
all.
many hats and juggle so much. Yeah.
Do you know what? Everything that I do has its seasons, and that is the saving grace.
Okay.
So I have a cleaning company,
Yeah.
and at times it can be quiet. Yeah, I started the cleaning company when I had my first daughter. I was bored on maternity leave. I was like, this is what people do.
You started a whole business.
I started a whole business, and I went to let me tell you something funny. I went to go and start the cleaning and stuff because
You were
I
actually physically doing the
I
cleaning
was
with the
physically
newborn?
doing the cleaning. My husband will come home from work and I will leave him with the
Wow.
baby. Then I'll go and do the cleaning. Until one time my leg now clicked because obviously
What clicked?
I had a emergency C-section. So
Hey!
it still hadn't
You're
as
still healing.
yeah, because it that emergency one takes a bit longer than elective one. And so I said to my husband, this one, please, can you now do it? So he was now helping me. So we were doing it, and like it didn't even take a year. Then we started getting people working for us. And so by God's grace, it has been picking up.
Yeah.
Like it has its like there's seasons. We'll have a lot of short-term contracts. So fast money, but then you really want the long-term contract, and that's where the work that has to go in. Yes, so it's always still there. And then ladies in waiting, it's something that I always have. It's like an extra child. Do you know what I mean? So in its seasons, maybe I might not be posting as much, but we did a lot of online work. Now we're in the community. And so it has its seasons, and I'm very particular with boundaries and time. Very particular with boundaries and time. When it comes to authors, so obviously writing books and so forth, obviously it takes its time when I'm ready to launch it and so forth. Hosting, I love hosting. And that's had to take a back seat. I'm not saying that I'm not a host anymore, but I've had to take a back seat because right now it doesn't favor me in the season that I'm in right now. I used to be on radio.
Yes, we didn't even get to touch on that. That was in my show notes.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Cause I know you want to touch on it, but
I know we've passed that section. That's go on, say what you was say.
So with like being on radio, I love that. Yeah. That was my passion, because I remember I was on radio. The first time I was ever on radio, which I've never actually said out loud, I was actually on radio at the age of 8. In Ghana, Kumasi, Ash FM. Shout out to my Americans. Ash FM. I was on radio for the first time as 8. We were in my uncle's house in Asqua. And they were doing a competition.
Competition for what?
For singing. And I used to sing. Wow. Oh, I love singing. Really? Oh, I love it.
Is there anything you don't do?
I actually thought I'd be a singer one day. I wanted to be everything when I was a kid, so I'm not surprised I'm doing a lot.
Yeah.
And so they asked, and we came, and I sang at the competition. On the radio, it was sponsored by Calipo, and that's my favorite drink. Yeah. And so it was like in this nice kind of bar setting restaurant, and I sang "To Become One" by Spice Girls. No. What? Yeah. And so I was on radio, so I loved it when we got invited to the radio place and stuff. And so, funny enough, when I went on radio and I actually won an award as a radio host, my dad said, he turned around and he goes to me, "I'm not surprised." It was actually, I think himself, he was a bit like, wow, because they wanted me to go Brit school, but they couldn't afford it that time. And so I just used to always be in the plays, used to do the acting and the singing, but I knew I was like, my friend, I'm not going to be pushing myself to, it's just something that I enjoy and I love. And so, radio, I love radio. Will I ever go back on radio? If the right radio station fits, because I just feel like it wasn't a fit where I was before anymore. I'd outgrown it. But I mean, if there's any other radio stations that it goes like, I'm plugging myself. I'm here to go back on radio. Let me shoot my shot. Yes, I would love to be a radio presenter, host again.
So what was it you loved about it, being on radio?
I just love interacting with the people. People will be sending me messages, can you play that? And I had different themes. So I remember there was a theme one time I was just going to play just Nigerian music, just Ghana music, just soca, And I have dilemmas. So people used to send their dilemmas.
Wow.
Oh yeah, you remember Mystic Meg those days on the news? People will be sending
doing.
People will be sending dilemmas, and we'll have a dilemma. People will be answering. I'll be reading people's answers.
Wow.
And my music taste is quite kind of unique. So some music I'll put on, like I'm somebody I'll probably put people will probably expect me to put like hip hop and all of that stuff. Sometimes I might even put
rock and roll.
Yeah, like Bon Jovi or something. Yeah, because I grew up on like a lot of music. My dad thought he was a self-proclaimed DJ.
Okay.
So I would put that stuff. But it was just coming back from work. And even though my radio station was nowhere near my home, but just going there for like that 1 hour or 2, it was a 2-hour like session. It was just electrifying.
I could feel it.
Yeah,
right
yeah. And the guests as well, like they'll bring their fire, and that's how I met people that I still have everlasting friendships till now.
Wow.
So yeah, man, radio is definitely something that was part of me. It still is, and so yeah,
it's gonna happen.
Yeah,
I can just tell, literally, as you're speaking, I think not that you haven't been example this whole session, but particularly when you started speaking about the radio, I can just feel the passion coming through.
Yeah,
so
no, I absolutely loved it. Yeah,
you have to get back into it.
Yeah.
Sure. So yeah, how you manage it all then, in summary, is a lot of compartmentalization. So knowing that there's a season and a time for it, you'd say. So it's seasons and time. So yes, sometimes I'm all in for the charity. Sometimes it's all in for the cleaning business. Whatever I need to put my focus on.
Yes.
That's what I put my focus on in that season.
And my tribe. Shout out to my husband, my mum, and my sister, Tasha, because obviously they're there as well if I have to take time out with the girls and so forth and whatnot. And I'm a hustler. Me, I like money, me pesca. I like it. I like enjoyment. I love it. So I know I have to work hard for it. And so if you see me enjoying on my holidays, know that I worked hard for it. Do you know what I mean? If I need time out, I'll be like to my husband, listen, I need to take a weekend trip away. Or like I learned from one of my friends that, just taking time out. So one time when Anaya was, before she was 1 or so, my husband was like, what do I want for Christmas? I was like, I want 2 nights in a hotel.
Come on.
Oh yeah, and I stayed.
You?
By myself.
Okay.
By myself. I took all my pampering stuff and I went there for 2 whole nights and just chilled by myself.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've never ever done that.
Yeah. No, just and it wasn't even, it was only down the road.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It was in Wembley.
Okay.
But Wembley's far.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So for me, but it was nice because I had got to see how Wembley had evolved. I haven't been there for years. Yeah. And so, I'll be doing another one of that very soon.
Get ready, hubby, for Christmas.
literally,
Do you believe that it's possible to have it all in terms of balancing all the different hats that you wear or juggle? So being a mother, being a career woman, being a wife, like, is it possible to have it all, do you think?
It is possible to have it all, but just remember the seasons. It's the seasons. A lot of people don't talk about that. Because you can have it all, but it's the season. Some things are not going to be in its ripe season. Yeah. And it's okay. Yes. Concentrate on the one that the season is taking over. Don't think you've forgotten about it. Because sometimes, as a human being, consciously, you're going to be like to yourself, oh, I'm not doing enough for the other. It's not that season yet. So right now, I'm in my season now of the cleaner business. Yeah? And so I'm making the most out of that. The others, have they taken a seat back? No, but they're sitting down watching that one take its place. Yeah. And so in terms of that, once you know your seasons and once you know how to schedule certain things, and for me, I would say my deal breaker is making sure there's a holiday scheduled at the end of it, so it makes me work harder. So I know I'm going away soon because obviously ladies are waiting 7 years. So I know I've got to do this, that, and then holiday I relax. Why am I going on holiday or business trip and I'm there thinking about things that I should have done? That motivates me. So find what motivates you. Maybe holidays is my motivation, but maybe for you, knowing that you're going to splash out on that new handbag might be your motivation. So you're going to do it 10 times harder. Yeah. Know what your motivation is and know the seasons of each business or each thing that you do. Respect the seasons too. Respect the seasons.
I agree, and that's very well said. Because I think it is possible to have it all, like you said, but I think it's being able to balance it all. I know that, like you said, there's a time for everything, and it's okay if right now the children need me more than maybe me working on my side project.
That's it.
Focus on the home,
100%.
focus on the schooling or whatever it is, and just know that it's going to still be there when I go back to it. So I don't need to put that much pressure on myself to have that perfect balance across all areas.
Because funny you said something just came to me. When you are finding balance, and maybe at the time, maybe you're concentrating on your children a bit more, there's an opening. Let me tell you where the opening is. You're doing your school runs, or you're spending more time with your children with their homework and so forth. Don't think that that's not going to open a door. The conversations of the people that you meet going to the school runs, the conversations of the people that you meet when you're coming back. Maybe you've even got a little bit of downtime. Maybe you're sitting in the toilet and you're like, let me scroll. You might see an opportunity come. Use the time wisely. So somebody sitting there, use that time wisely, because you might be thinking, I'm pouring onto my kids. Well, what are you doing with that time whilst you're pouring into your kids? They sleep, they eat, they go to school. Use that downtime to even make contacts, or even think, oh, how can I do this, and search up and do on Google, LinkedIn. We're privy to have all of these things. So use that time wisely, because that time that you're using now will bring you to another season, to another cash flow, into something else.
This is how the cleaning business was birthed, no?
Yeah, literally.
How would you say motherhood has influenced your career choices, and what adjustments have you had to make on this motherhood journey when it comes to career?
It's been, I knew when I had my second one, I can't work full time for a company like Monday to Friday in an office. No, I just knew, because I knew life will intensify. When you have one child, it's different. One child, you're able to just pick up and go. And I'm not saying it to the mothers that have just one child that is easy, no. But it is literally pick me up and go. That's your handbag. You just need, when you now have two, life intensifies, and you now need to find a way how to maneuver. And so me going into for me, I want more. There's some people, I know somebody that's just comfortable with doing a 9 to 5 and doesn't want to do anything because she's just getting a salary. That's not enough for me. That's not, if I want to retire at a certain age, that's not enough for me. I'm not working till 68. I'm not doing that. It's not my portion, no. And so with that being said, I knew that I had to take a chance and further myself. So I now started during my maternity, what I did was I just paused on buying certain things, and I found another avenue, and I now used money to invest in myself by doing other courses, and trying to find an avenue into tech, because I saw that not only is tech something that I can explore opportunities, but there's also an avenue for me to get remote roles, and for me to get at least hybrid, and for me to be able to negotiate what I can bring my transferable skills to. And so motherhood is adjusting. I have had to adjust a lot with my second one. But it's also pushed me to my limits, like, can I really be doing this? Because I didn't see myself, pushing that. But it's given me hope, and it's given me breaking the boundaries, breaking the rules and changing the game. I know Nicole said it, but it's true. It is breaking the rules and breaking the game, and it just makes me go harder as a mother. And every child that comes, I was saying this somewhere, because I went to an event recently, and there was a question a girl asked, and she asked, she wants to she wants to have a baby with her husband, but when is the right time? Now the whole panel gave every single answer, but they didn't put faith in it, and that was disappointing. So it was itching me that should I take the mic and say it? But I said, okay, cool down. Luckily for me, the girl passed me, and I said to her, what you asked there? They forgot faith. And I told her, every child that you have, they bring their own favor. I said, Anaya brought the favor with the businesses. Gigi has just intensified it and added more. Every child will bring their different favor, and they'll position you in a way that you're uncomfortable, but you have to be uncomfortable to be comfortable. And that's what's literally happened with my second one. But through it all, God has brought it through, and it's because each child is a blessing. Now, people use that loosely, like, oh, every child is a blessing, because even if there's a, but what blessing do you think it is? We don't, sometimes we just think, oh, children are blessing, that's it. But you need to identify that blessing. Name them one by one. And remember, and I'm not saying, oh, go and have 10 children because they're all going to bring their blessings. But don't allow work to hinder you. Don't allow, certain things of what people are going to say. If it's your time, it's your time. And sometimes we can't tell our workplaces because sometimes their mouth, they don't know how to talk.
Listen, I remember when I told my manager I was pregnant with my third one. She said, why would you do that? Can you imagine?
No, they will tell you. Oh, and then they'll now even put their own pressures. Oh, what am I going to do? How am I going to find another teacher? Really? Really?
Can you imagine?
So don't allow that to pressure you. If you're going to get that promotion, trust me, there's another promotion waiting for you. What you don't think, because that's what people think. They have this life plan and they're going, but is it God ordained life plan? It's not. So you are only thinking only out of the box a little bit. God has even got it bigger for you, but you're not opening your mind and you're not being obedient. And so at the end of the day, when it comes to motherhood, I believe that how you mother and how you parent, rely on God wholeheartedly. There's so many friends around you that do things and you're like, am I doing right? Listen, follow your own instinct. God gave us that. And so make sure you do. And continue to pray. Pray for that. Pray for that child. Pray, because at the end of the day, that child is going to be fruitful. Just as you are fruitful, that child's going to be fruitful and grow. So just always continue to keep prayer in motherhood. You can't do without it. You can't. It's not possible. So yeah.
Totally agree. Gosh, well said, Abigail.
Yeah.
We've got so many different areas in this conversation, but I think it's been so beneficial and so useful. And I really do think people are going to be blessed by this conversation and just your inspirational story and how you've been able to navigate such really difficult circumstances and overcome and come out with 2 beautiful children, with a business, with a community interest group, with so many. You've just been able to do remarkable things. Even in spite of all you've been through, and I feel like everything you went through has prepared you for the position you're in now. And I think it's just an incredible testimony, and I really do appreciate you for sharing it. So if you have any advice for any women watching that, or even men to be fair, are in that waiting season or they've experienced some kind of loss and tragedy that you've been through, any advice that you'd give to them in that season and how you've been able to navigate it, and any advice for them to navigate?
Not only would I say like prayer, but pray about the friends that are supposed to be with you in that season. Because a lot of people are holding on to unwanted luggage. Just because you're friends with somebody that you went to school with or you went to college, or they were there for you in that season, it doesn't mean that person is supposed to be with you in the next season. Pray about the people and the company that you keep whilst you are waiting, because they are the most important key to your recovery, for you to even excel and be excellent at the next stage in your life. It's so important, because when you now become that mother, or you now become that wife, or you now become that business owner, it's the people around you, the people that will uplift you. So if you have to go and make new friends, go and make new friends. If you have to, go on a journey and find the gracious people around you, listen, you need people that are going to be standing in the gap for you and mention your name in places that you're not even present at. So please think about your wide circle, because a lot of people underestimate that, and they think that those things are the things that, it doesn't matter. It does, because that is part of your elevation. Keeping people around you, people that are going to stand in the gap. Just because that friend, and some people have, friends for certain reasons. The girl that looks nice, I want to hang on to her. The girl that's got their self-esteem, maybe, she can boost me up. But don't have an agenda for your friendships. Just make sure you have a common ground, someone that you can bounce off, that you can laugh with, you can cry with, but you can also just small with. it's important. And sometimes you meet them. Even me, I'm still meeting new people. I signed up to something called Facebook. My sister was laughing at me.
What was it?
I went on a group called Black Girls Making Friends. My sister was like, why? You don't have friends? I was like,
Your hundreds of thousands of friends.
I was like, I don't have that much, I just know people. Okay. But to say like you're my bona fide, like we're gonna pray, we're gonna walk with each other, I didn't have that. Okay. And so I was like, and by the grace of God, I've made some meaningful connections that have even elevated me. And they're even telling me, oh, I've elevated them. No. If you can see what you have also done for me.
Hey, send me that link after this
I'm telling you, it's so good. And it's like you're picking out your friend. Everybody writes what they're interested in. And you look. It's a great platform. So shout out to, I think it's Miriam, who is the Black Girl, Black Girls Making Friend. And
on Instagram,
on Facebook. It's a Facebook group. And there's so many different avenues. And you'll meet some people that, I don't think they're for me. Yeah. And it's okay. That's fine. Do you know what I mean? And there's some ones that are all looking for mum friends. Some of them are looking for friends that are, don't have any kids. They don't want pressure to have kids. There's so many different people all around the UK. Initiative. Yeah, incredible initiative. And from there, I've been able to make everlasting friends that even live on my road, off 2 roads away, and we never met each other. Yeah. So step out.
That Facebook group.
Yes, so I would say definitely you're never too old to make new friends, to make new circles, and find prayer people and find someone who actually believes in you and you believe in them. As much as you want that friendship, also be that friend for them as well. I don't hold on to people that have, if we've known each other for a long time and you're still valuable in this season, fine. And I will talk to you. I'm not going to say, I'm not going to talk to you again. No. But for you to harbour close to me and for you to kind of walk with me, then I know, kind of thing. Because as people say, I walk down the road in Brixton. Yeah, the whole of Brixton saying hello to me, of course. Because I am that person that, I'll talk to you, I'll sit down and have a chat. And I care generally about people. But I'd rather care more for you than for me to, lean on you and then, why disappointing me? You're disappointing me. I don't want that. Do you know what I mean? So I'd rather be that person that you can obviously lean on, which is okay. But then I wanted to find my own people. And so I was like, am I going to be just chasing what I have? Or am I going to look for something new? Let me be uncomfortable to be. So there's a thing that you make, a friend application.
Wow.
Yes.
Like Tinder for
So when I saw it, I was like, oh, God, this is a bit uncomfortable. So it took me 2 weeks and I wrote one. Yeah. And I just put it out there and I was scared. People had comments, oh, let me be your friend. No I'll message you. I was like, oh, yeah.
Oh, no, actually.
No, it's mad sick. So that is that's the advice that I would say to people. Trust me, you got your husband. Yeah, we all know you got your husband because there's some people they overshow. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. My husband's my best friend. Me too. My husband's also my best friend. But you need that female interaction. You do. You need space. You need space. You need your own, and trust me, through that, the connection you can even make for your husband.
Yes.
You don't even.
It's true. It's so true. So funny you say that, actually. I remember watching a podcast the other day with Tabitha Brown. Do you know who she is?
I've heard of the name, yeah.
Her and her husband Chance, anyway. And she was sharing a story about the fact that she met a guy. So imagine this: a guy tried to move to her in the grocery store, and then after talking, she was like, "Oh my gosh, you would be perfect for my husband." And then she went home and told her husband that I found your new best friend. Yeah. Sure enough, 15 years later, he was best man at his wedding. You see, and they're friends, and it's through the wife's connection. Yeah. I love that. That's really good advice, and thank you for sharing. You're welcome. It's true. So I think sometimes we get comfortable and familiar with what we've always known. Yeah. But actually, is that the best scenario for you, and are those the best people to be around you? That's it. Especially in that vulnerable time. So no, it's really good advice. Yeah. Okay, so before we close, any final thoughts, any final message that you have? I know you shared a lot of gems already in this episode, but if there is anything else you want to share that we haven't quite touched on, or anything? I think the only thing that I'd want to touch on is pick up you. For having such a platform. And I think I've been following your stuff for a while. And then I saw that we had mutual friends and stuff like that. And I was just like, I'm somebody, I invest in people. I'll just be looking this is good. So when you had your first event, I was like, I'm definitely not going to miss this. Because
I've been waiting for you to do that event. And even to hear that, you came out of your comfort zone, and, it was a plus that it was on my doorstep. But even if it wasn't, I was still going to come anyway. But I think just big up you for coming out of your comfort zone, and you've put your own life story there. Do you know what I mean? And you've been able to elevate, and you've got 4 boys. I commend you. I commend you heavily.
Thank you.
And you're doing your thing. Yeah. And so I definitely want to shout at you, because I think more people need to have you on their platform, because you're major. You better get out now before she starts charging you £2,000 a session, So yeah, I just want to begin having this space. Yeah, it's important.
You.
Yeah.
Okay. Other thing I was supposed to ask, actually, I forgot to ask my last guest, but I can ask you if you have any final questions for me, because I've asked you like loads and loads of questions on this episode. Do you have any questions for me?
Any questions? Do I have any questions? Oh yes, okay, I have one question. I know that you went to Nigeria.
I did.
Recently, a few months ago, and obviously you let us know online like how your experience and so forth. What thing, when the time comes for you to take your boys, what's the one thing in Nigeria that you want your children to experience?
Okay, I don't know if this is gonna sound bad, but I'll just say it because it's the first thing that came to mind. But I think for me, I want them to experience the realness of life over there. So I think my children don't realise how privileged they are. So actually, I would like them to know that there are people that don't have everything that they do have. So give them that, help them to develop more gratitude for what they do have. But in terms of like positive things that I want them to see, so I don't want them to just see that people are suffering in Nigeria, because I do want them to know that it's a beautiful country. Because it's so funny you should say that. When I went to Nigeria, it was just me that went, and the rest of the family didn't go. It was a great time. Everyone's always saying to me like, oh my gosh, you left your children, like don't you miss them every day? And I was like, no. I felt bad saying it.
But
in fact, I didn't feel bad saying it. The looks that they were giving me were like, okay, what's wrong with this mother? But I didn't really. I wasn't thinking about them in the moment. When I saw them on FaceTime and stuff, it was like, oh, my babies, I miss them. And it was back to enjoyment. So
no, but it has to be said. If we have enjoyment, we can become the best versions of ourselves. I cannot just be sitting at home, just be looking at them like this.
No.
They need to get the best of me.
And they did. When I came back, I was happy. I was on cloud 9 for ages.
You see?
It was an amazing time and definitely needed. I hadn't been back to Nigeria in like 20 years. So
wow.
It was a big deal for me to go. And I went with my siblings and my dad, and we hadn't done a family trip before.
Oh, that's amazing.
The fact that we were able to do that was incredible. And so for me, I really want them to see what Nigeria is really like. So as much as I want them to see that they're privileged, so I do want them to see some of the poverty. I also want them to see how beautiful the country is, because I don't know what they've heard or what they think, but they're just so scared to go to Nigeria, because they just think, oh no, I don't want to go to Nigeria. They want to go to Ghana.
Everybody seems like they want to go to Ghana. I mean, I don't really see the difference between the two, but
exactly. No, but because their dad's from Ghana, I don't know. I feel like they're more affiliated with the Ghanaian side of the family, so they're just like, oh yeah, we want to go to Ghana, but not Nigeria. And I'm like, excuse me, Nigeria's a beautiful country. No, it is. So I want them to see the beauty. Like, I want to take them to Lagos. I want them to see like people live in nice houses and people do drive nice cars and people are doing things.
Go on the keke as well. And
the weather, the food. Oh, it's just a beautiful country, and I think they'll love it when they're there. So I just want them to show that. I would love to show them the beauty of the country, but I also do want them to see that not everyone lives this life that you live, and there are people that have very little and really live a content, happy life. Yes, because I think that's important for them to understand.
100%. That's great.
Okay.
That was the question I had.
Okay, good. No, thank you so much, Abigail, once again for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for your honesty. Thank you for the gems upon gems upon gems that you've dropped. I even can't wait to edit this episode so that I can be taking notes from everything you shared, because it was a really good one, and I really do commend you on your journey so far and how you've just been able to, like we said, turn so much pain into so much purpose and be able to pour back into everybody else even when you were going through it. And it just shows your character and shows your heart, because not many people would think like that. When you're going through things in life, you can be quite insular and quite self-focused, but the fact that you took your experience and thought, how can I help somebody else that's going through a similar thing, it just shows your strength of character. And it's just been a pleasure.
Oh, thank you for having me. Honestly, this podcast is gonna go from strength to strength to strength. And I can say, oh, I was on there. Did you see my episode?
It's true.
No, definitely. Thank you.